meant to blow your mind. The problem is that we're very trusting. We're believers. We don't think anyone is trying to take advantage of our credulity. We assume we give the people who are writing a certain document the best motives. We don't think that maybe actually they're trying to exploit something in us and get control of us. I was watching the Thomas Jefferson piece the other night on PBS, and it was really, I don't know what he said, but it was something really clever. I can't put it into words, I know what he said. But he said, whenever I see a priest, he meant a religious figure of some kind, he knows that we're about to be involved in control of some kind. That these people are not people looking for real truth. They're looking to control people, control masses, control minds. They're authority beings. And I didn't say it, he said it, but he put it in such a way, I wish I could remember the quote. How many saw that Thomas Jefferson piece? It's a new series done by that guy who does the Civil War, baseball, all those things. That guy does documentaries. Anyway, he had that quote from Thomas Jefferson that was so amazing, and we're so lucky to have had people like that involved in the founding of our country, because there's nobody even around today who's on that level. These are people 200 or 300 years ago. They're on such a high intellectual level. He, Benjamin Franklin, Alexander Hamilton. I mean, these guys were almost literally geniuses. James Madison, these guys, small country, maybe out of a catchment area of a couple of 100,000 people. You've got a collection of basically quasi-geniuses. We got a catchment area of like a couple of 100 million people, and we can't even come near the level of some of those people then. And they put down the first constitutional government because they were so intelligent. And we wouldn't be able to do the same today. There wouldn't be people on that level who could do it. And you know, Europe, look at Europe. Europe's trying to get together with the federal government. They still can't do it. It's 200 years later. And they're still wrestling with the federal system. How are we going to work out the relationship of different states to the, to the body politic as a whole? They're grappling with this 200 years later. The problems these guys basically more or less solved in an effective way, not the only way, 200 years ago. This country is so far advanced politically over other countries that other countries are not aware of it, and America isn't aware of it. So, people don't understand that this is the oldest government in the world. That we are the oldest modern government. We think we're the youngest country. No, we're not. We're the oldest. Because there were no constituted governments before the American one. And other countries are just trying to get constituted. Middle East countries are hardly coming out of the Middle Ages politically. And other countries are having, a tough time trying to move forward politically. Japan, with little American help, got there after the Second World War and is basically bumbling through. Germany as well, to some extent, with some help from us. But other countries, England doesn't have a constitution. They have no idea half the time what they're doing. They're bumbling along, and Europe is in total chaos intellectually as far as how to work it out. And so, these guys were really intelligent. I just say that the awe that one has, even a statement like Thomas Jefferson, in terms of what do religious people represent. We think they may represent teaching, insight, inspiration, possibly, but all he saw was mind control and power. And I don't think he's far wrong, frankly, I hate to say it. They don't maybe know it, but they have to protect their jobs, their role. Priest classes have always been in the business of control. It goes back to the Persian periods and the Roman periods and the Jewish period. Priest classes control in other words, to continue in their favored status position. And part of the control is mind control. What we are dealing with in this subject in the modern world is an inability to realize that the people disseminating these information documents on which their control was based may not always have been straightforward with us, but may have been trying to attract us by presenting things that are historically unrealistic and possibly even inaccurate. And so that's what our job is here. I've gone back to where I was. We were talking about the Maccabean uprising, as I recall. How far along did we get in that last time? I thought we came down to the history of the return from captivity. The building of the second temple, we didn't do all of that? I think we did. Where did we leave off? Who's got the last, what's your note say? Give me your last sentence of your note.
Titus.
Titus. So we did get down there. In any case, just to review it with you, you know, after the return from captivity in the 500s, get that in the prophets. Some of that is in the Isaiah book. When, if you look at second Isaiah, as we call it, Isaiah is considered by scholars to be a compendium of several documents, not just one document. The second part of it is in the Persian period. The first part is in the Assyrian Babylonian period. It's a spread of 200 years there. So it isn't that Isaiah lives for 200 years, it's just that a second writer has been tacked on to the first writer. It took mankind about 2,500 years to discover that. That's where control is affected, because where religious documents go, man and womankind are not often allowed to use their minds, because the priest classes and others that control the religious documents become threatened if you question some of their assumptions on certain issues, and therefore become very aggressive, like inquisitions, burnings. Burning at the stake is a powerful dissuading from doing too much questioning, as Galileo discovered, much to his dismay. He was offered burning or silence, and what did he choose? Silence. Smart man, maybe. Not very courageous, but certainly very smart. At least he was able to live, well, he was under house arrest for the last 10 or 15 years of his life, but at least he was able to carry on and not be, I wouldn't want to be on a stake burning, would you? I mean, you couldn't get much worse than that, and that's done in the name of religion until fairly recently, 1600s. In some places, even more recently. So we've only been free to talk about these things for a while. So Isaiah is clearly composite. You talk to a believer, they're not even aware of it. And in fact, they get aggressive if you say it to them, because they don't like to hear such things. And it's sad, because first what comes in is atavism, a native knee-jerk reaction to protecting your heritage, which is normal, everyone does that. You know, it's kind of tribalism. That's what I was given, that's what my people believe, that's what my ancestors believe, that's what my church believes, that's what my synagogue believes, that's what my mosque tells me, and then, you know, my high school team against your high school.